Let me walk you through how I created these closed deletion sentences for Anki.
찾기 어려워요.
Now, it's got the sound file and it's prompting me to type in what I believe is the correct sentence. I'm just going to type any old thing in here, really.
찾기 어려워요.
And you can see I didn't get it right. I did get one character right at the end, but I didn't get anything right. But this allows me to type in and listen. So the way that I did this was that I imported it
배우기 어려워요.
using a CSV file that I created. So let's look at that. What we have here is just Korean sentences, the English translation, and the sound file that they're at. This is a consolidated CSV from a huge amount of files that I collated. So what I did was I went to Anki and I found all of the Korean decks I could find with sentences with audio. I loaded them up into my Anki deck and I exported them all as CSV files. So you'll notice I have the Anki package, but I also have the CSV file that I exported it to. And in addition to that, I created a list of words that I wanted to review. So this is just a list of 80 some odd verbs that I wanted to study and various conjugations of those verbs. Now what this does is it simply takes a simple Python script here with just some basic stuff that I generally load in. I start with a variable for the word list, and then this is just two simple programs. It's got the main, which reads in the word list CSV, and then it opens the consolidated CSV, which is the one that has the Korean, the English, and the sound file. It reads through the consolidated CSV, searching for the elements in the word list. If it finds it, it calls the generate a cloze function. All that does is it generates the line for a CSV file. So it has a tab, new line characters, and in Anki, a cloze is prepended by this C1, C2, C3, depending on how many closes you have in a sentence, but I'm only ever going to have one. And then the closing braces that are wrapped around the words. And so basically I create the replacement because I put the prepend, then I put the verb that I've searched for and found, and then I put the postpend, I'm calling it, to basically just finish the wrapper. And then it generates a new row where I replace the word I searched for with this replacement, and then I generate a new line, which is a tab separated file. So it's this new row plus a tab plus the native language, which for me is English, then another tab, and then the sound file. And then it returns that line, and that line is then printed directly to standard out. And all I do is just pipe this all straight into a file in order to generate the finished product. So if I open that up for you, and the completed file has, here you can see the Cloze deletion portions put in. And when I import this into Anki and use a Cloze deletion card, it will import these as Cloze deletion, and it will make it force me to type this in. So I think these Cloze deletion cards are really, really useful. And you can do this sort of substitution with anything. Now, the longest and most painful portion of this was to generate this consolidated CSV, because I had to take all of those other CSVs, I had to open them all up, I had to put them in their columns in the correct order so that I had the Korean, the English, and the sound file. I deleted everything else that I didn't need. Once I'd done that, I had to filter all of this to get rid of any blank lines, lines that didn't have a sound file, lines that didn't have a translation, etc., etc. And so once I'd gotten that far, I managed to get myself a few thousand sentences, 4,435 sentences, where I've got the sound file, I've got the translation, and I've got the original. And I could then search through those 4,000 plus lines, searching for the 80 verb words that I wanted to study. And then it output this file for me, which I imported into Anki. Now the verbs I'm looking for are the most common verbs, and therefore I got 9,006 cards or notes from this exercise. Now, because I've written this, I can go back and do the same thing again with a different set in my word list and generate another CSV file, which I can then import into Anki again. So that's how I'm doing it. I will try and post the Python script onto my GitHub page and put a link, but it's relatively straightforward to do. You just open up the two files, you find the matching ones, and you generate the line for the output. And that's basically it. Now there are a couple of errors in here, but that's life. So these I need to manually correct, but it's fine. It mostly generated it correctly. There were some errors and gaps where it's got tabs, so I just have to filter for those and then manually correct them, and then I imported it. But it's manually doing a few 50 or 60 lines is not a problem when you're able to generate thousands. Okay, hopefully that was helpful and useful, and if you like this sort of thing, let me know. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll try and get back to you. Alright, thank you very much. Have a good day.